Hello everyone, Zendro Gaming coming at y'all with another video, and we are doing more deck profile videos for the Union Arena trading card game. Yes, this weekend you will have two sets releasing for the Union Arena trading card game. That is going to be the Rurouni Kenshin set, which is going to be a full-blown set, and then we do have the Volume 2 for the Hunter x Hunter set coming out, both which I am very excited for. But getting into this video, we are doing a Aoshi Shinomori. That's our Aoshi deck profile. This is a blue deck, and it does have some very interesting mechanics in it. We're going to go through, talk about all the cards. I have the whole list up here for everyone, and I'll be sure to leave a picture at the end for everybody to screenshot if they want to take this build. Now, I have not been able to test this, but just reading the cards, trying to think about some deck building ideas, I think this is a good template for you guys to go off of, right? But for of the special trigger, this is a very unique special trigger in life, just special. 4 energy, 1 action point. Kaiten Kimbu 6 Secessions. This is his finishing move that he brings out against his former master on the show. You can see the art here, really cool, very iconic part of the show. And it says, choose one Aoshi Shinomori in your field. It loses 1000 BP and gains at the end of this character's attack. You may switch one active Aoshi Shinomori on your field to resting. If you do, switch this character to active until the end of the turn. So, pseudo giving your Aoshi Shinomori double attack, which can come up and be very powerful. It does have to lose the 1000, and then at the end of the attack, you may switch one of your active Shinomori on the field to resting to, stand it back up. So, pseudo double attack, and you're no way to just, straight up, sideline someone, so you do have to get this special from life to just sideline people. And then 4 of our final trigger just being proof as the strongest. Obviously, Aoshi Shinomori, one of his ultimate goals is to be the strongest, and this is the scene of his teammates in the show, obviously not alive anymore in the ground. But this is just your final trigger, get you 2 AP back, 3 energy, 1 action point to play it. And then 2 of this movement of flowing water. This is the scene with him and Kenshin. 2 energies, 1 action point. I think it's the scene where they're on the ship. I can't quite remember exactly from the show, but it's an active trigger in life and event. I'm running 3 of these. Sorry if I didn't say it before. 4 of the spinal, 4 of the special, obviously. And then 3 of this event is an active trigger in life. It says play up to 1 Aoshi Shinomori card with 2 or less required energy, 1 AP cost from your field, or from your hand, or sideline set to active onto your field. That character gains. This character cannot attack. And if this character is active at the end of your attack phase, sideline it until the end of the turn. If you played a card from your hand, you may draw a card. I don't like that it doesn't let you just draw a card, getting a body. We do see other archetypes that play cards like this getting a drawback. But if you played a card from your hand, they let you get a drawback, so not being like a downside of it having to be, 2 cards for 1. You can just play this to get a 2 or less, 1 AP cost from your sideline. Then you don't get to draw a card, because then it's just a 1 for 1. But this works out really well, with the, your special trigger, because then now you can then give this character to switch one of your other Shinomori, being the one that you played with the flowing water, to resting, and now that character gets to stay on the field because now it's rested. So that is the combo. I do think that you want to see more of the 6 Secessions outside of the flowing water, but this combo is really strong and is what makes Aoshi very cool and a very interesting mechanic for the game. But let's go through and touch on all the Aoshi Shinomoris. This is going to be just the rare from the set, Aoshi Shinomori. In the early days of the show, 4 energy, 1 action point, 4,000 BP, raid in life, 1 energy generator, all very basic stuff that we expect to see on our 4-drop raids. But you can rate it on top of an Aoshi Shinomori, obviously, and it has Nullify Impact, which you do only get this if this character is rated. I would have preferred they put this on top of the raid part, so that way you could have kept that effect, but it does say, when played, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Oniwanban Group affinity card or event card with Kaiten Kimbu and its card name among them and add it to your hand. Replace the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck anymore. So this is essentially a searcher raid target, which does help you see some consistency in finding these pieces in the deck for yourself. And then this is the more powerful Aoshi Shinomori later in the show with his double sword technique. 4,000 plus BP, 4 energy, 1 action point, raid in life, 1 energy generation trigger. And it says, when played, this character gains 1,000 BP until the end of the turn. So this is the one that you want to really play to then be able to use your effect to give to him when he attacks to tap something else, lose the 1,000, and then stand back up. So it's going to be initially be a 5k body on the first swing. You tap the character that you played with the other effect to then restand this character, and it'll go down to 4. That is the combo in the deck. And then activate main, play the base card of this rated character set to active onto your field. It gains this character cannot attack, and if this character is active at the end of your attack phase, sideline it until the end of the turn. So it is also just built in that he lets you play his rated character out onto the board for you to be able to tap it down, and then him, because when you get played, this card gets that 1,000 BP, so then you don't have to worry about, you know, the rated thing. You get to keep that 1,000 BP, because it's when played, it's not like a wild rated effect, and then now you get to use the card underneath it to stand him back up, so you can see how you can get multiple instances of double attack in this one. You raid this one, play one out, use it to do that swing, boom, boom, boom. Or you could play another one out, use it again if you really wanted to. But this movement of flowing water and the 6 successions just helps you kind of do that again. So you can see you have multiple ways to get this double attacker in. This Aoshi Shinomori, the super rare from the set, is definitely the most important card in the deck, and you need to see it. Going down the line, though, we do have another 4 energy, 1 action point, Aoshi Shinomori. Now, this one I am thinking that a 3 of is good, maybe not need to max out at 4. I could be wrong about this one, but it's a 4 energy, 1 action point. This is the Peacock Feather scene, 4,000 BP, 1 energy generator. It's a draw trigger in life to note, and it says, when played, you may switch to resting one other active Oniwanban Group affinity card on your front line. If you do, switch this character to active. This is really, really good because you can use the event card to play one out, and then play this card from your hand to then suspend that character to keep it out, and it doesn't have to, you know, get sidelined, and now this gets to come to active. I do like how this kind of pseudo gets around them having to make it the 2 action point card to be able to do it. I like this a little bit better, a little bit more leeway in these cards. We've seen before them play cards like them make cards like this where they are, you know, 2 action points to kind of stand back up, but this one's 1 action point. You rest one of the other guys you're going to play out, so being able to play these characters out are very, very important for you to get your combos going off, and this card is pretty good. But not quite as important as the other 2, I don't think so, but still really, really strong, and if you could find room to put this out of 4 of, I would definitely recommend it, but I think this is a good basis to go off of. Now, going down the line of our 4 drops, we do have one more character that we're running out of 4 of, and this is going to be Shikijo. 4 energy, 1 action point, 4,000 BP, 1 energy generator. It is also a draw trigger, and it just says, during your turn, if on the front line, if an Aoshi Shinomori leaves the field due to one of your opponent's abilities, you may sideline this active character instead. I don't like that he has to be active for you to be able to get that, but that makes sense because you watch the show. If you've been not watched the show yet, I'm sorry to spoil you for anything, but they obviously like give themselves up to try to protect Aoshi, and you know, they believe in him a lot. He is their leader of the group, and they eventually do die for him, and that's what this card is doing. I do wish that it didn't have to be active. I think that kind of nerfs the deck a little bit because now you can't just tap him to get your Aoshi effects and then also use him to keep Aoshi alive. I think that would have made it a lot better. I don't think it even would have made it too strong. It would just give you a good safety net for doing so. But if you are in an instance where you do want to swing and say you tap something else down, the Aoshi does get targeted, get deleted because your opponent doesn't want you to swing again on your following turns, then you can get rid of Shikijo to keep him alive. But a very important card, I think, is really good to, you know, you want to see at least one of these on the board, and I'm running 2 of this character instead of 4 of the Aoshi because I do think this helps keep your really strong Aoshi on the board for longer, which obviously does benefit you being able to get double attacks because you may not always have the BP, but in this deck, the amount of swings are what matter and not really the quality of your swings. Now, going on, I feel like this is a card I found really hard to try to keep at a higher count, but I do want to, but it doesn't have a trigger, and this is going to be Hanya. This is the guy with the mask from the Oniwanban Group, 3 energy, 1 action point, 3,000 plus BP, double energy generator. It says, activate main, place 1 card from your hand into the sideline. Once per turn, this character gains 1,000 BP until the end of the turn. And then when sideline, You may place one card from your hand into your sideline. If you do, play up to one Aoshi Shinomori card with 2 of this card energy from your sideline set to resting onto your field. I think that this card just feels a little clunky, and I only put it in here really just to be a double energy generator that isn't Oniwanban that you can search out. I don't know how I feel about this effect. I don't think that's really great. You don't really care to make him 4k BP body on your turn by losing a card, but that does help you cycle an Aoshi into your sideline if you don't currently have one to play out. So I do think that that is the useful part of this effect to help you get your combos. But the fact that he doesn't have a trigger, and then it has to be when he's sideline, you may place one card from your hand to your sideline to play up an Aoshi Shinomori. So it's just losing a lot of hand value for this character, but I do think he has a spot in the deck because he is a just base double energy generator, and we don't have a ton of those in the deck. Not that we have to have a ton of cards in the deck because the Aoshis are just 4 drops, but this Hanma, maybe trying to find room for a 2 of will, suit the deck well, but we are only at 43 triggers because we have to run some other cards that also aren't triggers. Now, finally getting down to our Misao Makimachi. Everybody loves Misao. She's so amazing in the show. Really cool character. I like Misao a lot. And this is the new card archetype that we get in this set, that going in further sets of the Union Arena trading card game, you need to, have your mind set on, from this point on in the game, decks will be way more consistent because of cards like this. And these cards all will say, if you have no cards in your hand, reduce this card's required energy by 2 while in your hand. So all of these cards are really big consistency pieces because they let you not always have to see your 0 drops to be able to play the game, and that helps you, just be able to play the game better. There's so many games that happen where you're not able to see a 0 drop and you can't play the game. So I'm very, very excited about the game bringing in the cards that have that effect. So for this blue archetype, she is that particular card, and these cards are very, very powerful and help with the consistency for your decks. But that premise out of the way, 2 energy, 1 action point, 2000 BP, 1 energy generator, a draw trigger in life. And she says, when played, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, place up to 1 of them into your sideline, place the remaining cards on the top of your deck in any order. This just helps you be able to get an Aoshi in your sideline, so that way you can then play one later, and it's a good draw trigger in life. And it is just a good consistency piece for the deck. Only running 3 of this, I could be wrong, and maybe this one needs a 4 of, but you want to only see it sometimes, not all the time. Then going down the line, only 2 of this Misao. 2 energy, 1 action point, 2000 BP, 1 energy generator, draw trigger in life. Once again, it says, when played, choose one of the following. This character gains an extra energy generation until the end of the turn, so you can play her down and immediately bump her up to 2, which could get you to that very important 4 energy generation. Or choose up to 1 other character in your field and it gains 1000 BP until the end of the turn. So earlier in the game, this helps you fix your energy. Later in the game, this is a good value piece to help those Aoshis start out, especially the rated one, like going up to 6k is so strong. Being able to swing with him, tap another thing down, it loses 1000. Swing again. He is so strong. Like that combo is really, really powerful. And then it also just says activate main switch to resting. Choose 1 other character on your field against 1000 BP till the end of the turn, and then return this card to your hand. So really cool being able to play her out with her ninja. She's very jumpy in the show, so this kind of fits her personality a little bit. Jumping around, switch her to resting, give a character 1000 BP, return her back. So then you can do her when played effect to then generate that double energy again. So acting kind of pseudo like one of those bounce double energy generators. Going down the line, more Misaos, 2 energy, 1 action point. This is just the active trigger, or active gain 2 energy, right? These cards are very staple in a lot of decks, and I think that this deck needs it a lot because it doesn't have a lot of double energy generators, but you do want to see at least one of these a game, so that way then you can bounce this Misao here, and this one right here, sorry, in particular, to get that double energy generation and have these cards. I think this is a big, important, key part of the deck is going to be these Misaos, but I do think it's hard to find space for them when you want to run so many low to the ground cards to keep this deck very, very consistent, because at the end of the day, it is a combo deck. Now, going down, we do have another Aoshi. This is a 2 energy, 1 action point card. It is a color trigger in blue, which means you get to bounce that 3500 less BP on your opponent's front line to the hand. 2500 BP, 1 energy generation, nothing to scoff at for a 2-drop, which is really, really strong. And this says, when played, if this character is played with one of your character or event abilities, draw a card. Now, this is the most important card in the deck. You want to have this one in your sideline and keep that one getting cycled out, because you'll get to keep playing this one out with your character or ability effects, and this is how you keep replenishing your hand. This one is very, very important. You do want to search this one out as soon as possible. You do want to see this one, and you want to put it in your sideline so you can play it out with your character and ability effects, so that way then you get a free card back to your hand, and it makes your combo feel a lot less like you're losing value and you're going even and pressing the state of the game. Going down the line, we do have Bishimi. This is the archer from the Oniwanban Group. 1 energy, 1 action point. It's a draw trigger in life, 1500 BP, 1 energy generator. And it just says, when played, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Megumi Takani or Oniwanban Group affinity card among them, add to your hand. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you added a card from your hand, place 1 card from your hand into the sideline. I am only running 2 of this one. It's just a searcher for the deck, but I did want to run this particular Aoshi that we're about to, Aoshi that we're about to talk about as a 2 of instead of running this one as a 4 of. If you feel like you don't need the next card we're about to talk about, I do think you just, push the Bishimi up to 4 of, because this card is really, really good, letting you be able to search your deck a lot, to then be able to put this Aoshi in your sideline, because you search a card and then sideline one. You can search this Aoshi and then sideline it, or send it to your sideline, which is a great combo. I think a 2 of at the moment probably be pretty cool, but if you want to go down on this next card and put him at a 4 of, I can understand why. But I'm a big fan of this card, and it is a 1 energy, 1 action point Aoshi Shinomori. 2000 plus BP, 1 energy generator, and it says during your turn this character gains 1000 BP. 1 energy, 1 action point, 3000 BP during your turn is really, really strong. And I think seeing 1 copy of this early is a great way to just get a couple of free checks against your opponent. And then also, it's not a bad blocker, being able to block out other 1500 BP 0 drops in the game. So if you see this and you're going second, you can just play down your 0 drop, play down this Aoshi, and you are putting a lot of pressure on your opponent that they originally probably didn't think they'd have to, find a way to block out a 3K on turn 2 is a big problem. And I think that the pressure this card offers you is so important to just be able to, put a lot of pressure on your opponent. So I think it is essential in the deck. But only playtesting will tell us just how important this card is, because it does not have a trigger, which is what puts the trigger count in this deck down so low. If it had a trigger, I would definitely run 4 of it and find some way to fit it in, because I do think that is super powerful. But going down the line to our 0 drops, we are running 2 of the Kyotoko. This is the big red guy from the Oniwanban Group. It doesn't have a trigger. It's our 0 drop, 1 action point, 1 energy generator, and it says when sideline, if Aoshi Shinomori is on your field, you draw a card. Now, I only wanted to put this one at a 2 of because it doesn't have a trigger. And like I said, I'm trying to keep the trigger count in the deck as high as possible while running some really good cards. I do think that this is the 0 drop that you want to put on the front line as soon as possible, so that way you can then get that draw card when it's sidelined, and you can apply a lot of pressure to your opponent early, since it is a 2000 BP body. 4 of the 0 drop, Misao, 1500 BP, draw trigger in life, and she has Nullify Impact on a 0 drop with a trigger. This is a good improvement of the game. I think that this helps you be able to run a Nullify Impact in your deck and not feel bad about it not having trigger or some other kind of, synergy with the deck. It is only Oniwanban Group. I do love these Nullify Impact cards, because there is so many instances where Nullify Impact can just keep you from losing the game, or put your opponent in a tough spot where a lot of decks rely on Impact to get damage through, and Misao just keeps them from being able to do that. Running 4 of this one, it's a draw trigger in life. You want to see it. And then we do have Aoshi Shinomori, 0 energy, 1 action point. When played, draw 1, trash 1. We've seen this before. You do want to try to trash that really important Aoshi here. The 2 drop if you can. One thing to note about this one, it's active trigger, which is very interesting, because we do want to keep some hand advantage, and that kind of does hurt the deck, because you don't have a lot of ways to get these Aoshis to your hand outside of searching with the Bishimi or just hard drawing them, because the top ones are raids. The other top one is a draw trigger, and this one is an active trigger, and the other one is a color trigger. So you do kind of just have to hard draw into your Aoshi Shinomoris. I think that does mess with the consistency of the deck a little bit, but this deck does feel kind of like a lower to the ground Levi deck. If you are familiar with that deck from Attack on Titan, it kind of does some shenanigans that are a little bit similar to the way that the vibe of Levi played in Attack on Titan, so if you like that deck, I think that this is a great deck to jump into, and you feel some kind of similarities to it. I know the keywords aren't the same, but I promise you, I think it would feel a little bit like that. But that is the deck profile for Aoshi Shinomori. Let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comments down below. I am going to keep making these deck profile videos to get y'all ready for this weekend, so be on the lookout for them. I'll be posting a bunch of them. I appreciate y'all hanging out today. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Peace.